On today's installment of the Letterboard of Truth, our quote of the day is... Let's get cracking. I know it's hard to be original these days because it seems like everything's been done before. While that's definitely true for traditional media, the same could be said for online content creation. But has the content well dried up so much that we now need to crack eggs on toddlers' heads for likes and views? Are we that desperate for engagement? And intentions aside, is it even okay to prank kids in the first place? Is it egg-fickle? I'm probably stretching with that one. These are all questions that'll be answered over the next several minutes. Okay, Barbara Walters. The viral prank of cracking an egg on someone's head has hatched over the past couple weeks on TikTok. The videos under the hashtags egg prank and egg cracking challenge combined have garnered over 750 million views. But the premise of this prank or challenge is that the TikToker will set up their camera and pretend that they're filming a cooking tutorial while their target sits nearby. And then they turn around and smash an egg on the target's head in hopes of catching them off guard.
Hey guys, I'm gonna show you how I crack an egg with one hand.
Oh, but... Yeah. Girl.
So first, I'm gonna crack the egg. I'm gonna put 3. Three eggs. Dang, I got some shit.
I don't believe you just did that. I don't believe you just did that.
Now, you're probably thinking, this just seems like a run-of-the-mill prank, and normally I'd agree. But notice who the targets were. Many creators, like the ones I just showed you, were pranking their significant others or their parents. While I personally wouldn't do this, you know, everyone's got a different sense of humor, and it seems like the targets found it funny too. This side of the trend is fine to me, but the reason why this egg cracking prank rose in popularity so fast is because it made its way to the mommy blogger side of TikTok, and that is where the problem began, in my opinion. Instead of pulling this prank on their spouses or friends, a lot of parents opted to smash eggs on their young children's heads. As a joke, of course. Let me show you an example.
Say, we're cooking eggs with mom. Okay. Alright. Oh, okay. Hold on. You hold this. Hold on. Hold it. Okay?
Hold it?
Yes, hold it.
My egg.
That is your eggs. Here, scoot this way just a little bit. Hold on. Okay, you ready? Alright, Mama's gonna go first.
Go first.
Okay?
Okay.
You okay?
Oh, that's my girl. Yeah.
Nice work. You really bamboozled your infant daughter. I just pulled the sickest prank on my kid. I got her so good, that bitch was crying and everything. Yeah, I know she's still in diapers, but let me tell you, she did not see it come. Wait, what are you doing? No, don't call CPS, wait! If you've been here before, you know my policy. I do not show minors' faces, so I'll describe what's going on as best I can. At the beginning, this TikToker's daughter looked genuinely excited to be baking something with her mom, but excitement quickly turned into confusion as soon as her mom smashed the egg on her head. Meanwhile, this creator doubled over in laughter while her daughter, who can't be older than 2, mind you, is rubbing her head, and to be honest, she looked like she was about to cry at one point. I don't mean to pick on this person specifically. She's just one of many, many parents on TikTok participating in this trend, and their videos also go a similar way.
Ow! That hurt.
2, 3.
Hey! That was a very nice.
But to be fair, some kids did laugh along with their parents or had a funny reaction. A few parents even let their child crack an egg on their head.
Egg?
What the hell? What the heck is your problem?
Randy, he just took a bath.
Oh,
I love you. I love you.
love you.
While numerous egg pranks have gone viral on TikTok, users mainly had a problem with the videos featuring children. Many have pointed out that pulling a prank like this on your kid, especially when they're very young, is mean-spirited and cruel. And to be honest, it kind of is. Like, why do you think it's funny to embarrass your child on camera and then post that online for thousands of others to see, thus furthering the humiliation?
Ready to help me make brownies?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Ow. That hurts.
Are you okay?
No.
Okay. Zizi, how would you feel if I cracked this on your head? Would you like that? You wouldn't, right? Are eggs for hitting or are they for cooking? For cooking? Would you like to cook with it instead? I don't know what you guys are doing cracking eggs on your baby's skulls. Like this? Do it in here? And this hurts my head. Y'all have to understand that these are babies and they follow everything that you are doing. If you are showing them that it's okay to hit, that it's okay for an adult to hit a child, how are you going to get upset when they're hitting someone at daycare or they're hitting somebody at school? You heard it from her. It would make her sad. Stop hitting your kids' heads with eggs. Can we please do better? Thank you.
Of course, you're always gonna have naysayers who'll be like, oh, it's just a joke. Why is everyone so sensitive these days? Like this person.
Way to do it. All right, ready?
I'm gonna try it huge.
You gotta do harder than that. Oh my god, I have egg on my face.
Not liking this trend doesn't mean that someone's not a fun parent. Have you considered that some people don't like parents who laugh at their visibly hurt and embarrassed child on camera just to exploit them on social media? And it's not just other parents who are criticizing you either. Medical experts have spoken out about this trend as well. Pediatric allergist Dr. Rubin explained his concerns in a TikTok.
There are two main concerns that I have. Number one, if you're going to crack an egg on a young child and they get raw egg on their hands or on their body and they touch that and they put that in their mouth, they're going to ingest raw egg, and that is a risk for them getting an infection with salmonella bacteria, which can make them very, very sick. My second concern is the fact that if that child, especially if they're an infant or toddler, has eczema and their skin is exposed to raw egg, it could increase the risk of them developing something called sensitization or the generation of immunoglobulin E or IgE antibodies that could bind to that egg protein, and they could develop a food allergy later in life because of something like this. We don't know the exact amount of risk for doing something like this, but there's really no reason to be putting raw egg on children's skin.
According to the CDC, children under 5, as in the ages of most of the kids being pranked, are more likely to contract salmonella. Symptoms of salmonella include stomach cramps, vomiting, diarrhea, and a fever. In rare cases, salmonella can spread to the bloodstream and cause a life-threatening infection. Experts have also weighed in on the psychological effects children can experience after enduring jokes like the egg prank. I know that sounds dramatic, but hear me out. Or rather, hear Amanda Mathers, a pediatric occupational therapist, out.
Children are watching and learning from you as parents. Their little brains soak up everything at this young age. If you ever find yourself wondering, why does my child hit other people? Why does my child hit and bite me? We need to watch our actions and our words. You are teaching them that hitting someone in the head hard with an object is acceptable and funny. And not only that, but the worst part is that most of you watched your child respond and cry in response to embarrassment and pain, and you laughed in their face. Guys, this is bullying. And they will grow up thinking that this is acceptable behavior. And either 1, become a bully themselves, or 2, be a victim themselves because they don't feel safe communicating this or understand that this is not an acceptable behavior.
There were a couple times where I saw the child hit back after getting pranked. While part of me was kind of living for it because I think these kids deserve to stand up for themselves, I really truly hope that this doesn't become a pattern of behavior for them. That's not to say you can never joke around with your kids. That's ridiculous. But I think parents need to be mindful of how to joke around with their children in an age-appropriate way, and that could be said for anyone who's around kids on a regular basis. With that being said, what makes a good prank? And before we can even answer that, let's break down the basics of a prank. A prank is an attempt to implant a false belief in someone's head. In order for a prank to be successful, you need to know how the other person's mind works and how they'll possibly react to, say, sitting on a whoopee cushion. Pranks are funny for the pranker, obviously. Ideally, though, you want the target to also respond positively so everyone can share a laugh, which means you should probably avoid pranks that cause bodily harm or property damage. This ability is called the theory of mind, which is the understanding that other people have different perspectives and mental states to you. A theory of mind includes the knowledge that others' beliefs, desires, intentions, emotions, and thoughts may be different from one's own. Humans typically don't develop their theory of mind until 3 to 4 years old. This development is essential for children in order to learn language and social skills. But the theory of mind can develop atypically in some neurodivergent folks. That's why a lot of autistic people, for instance, have trouble picking up on jokes. One way parents can help their kids develop their theory of mind is through humor, and that can include pulling pranks. However, children lack critical reasoning until the age of 12 when their frontal lobes begin to develop. Your brain's frontal lobe is home to areas that manage thinking, emotions, personality, judgment, self-control, muscle control and movements, memory storage, and more. And because of this, children under 12 are most susceptible to pranks because they don't have critical thinking skills yet. Young children are typically more gullible and completely trust whatever their caregivers say or do. So when the parent pulls a harsh prank, like cracking an egg on their head, the child, depending on their age, probably doesn't have the brain capacity to understand the intended humor. They might even take it as a betrayal because of that. I noticed that the kids who understood or went along with the joke were a bit older, probably around 9 to 12, while most of the kids who had negative reactions like bewilderment, shock, and mistrust skewed a lot younger. This isn't a coincidence. The egg cracking prank certainly isn't the first of its kind, though. People have been pranking their kids on social media for years. For example, the cheese slice trend blew up a couple years ago, which was when a parent would throw a slice of cheese onto their baby's face for some reason. And just last year, hundreds of parents on TikTok pretended to smear feces on their kids' hands because they knew their children would freak out. And go figure, they did. Turns out, people don't like getting poop on their hands. Embarrassing your children online is a lucrative business, unfortunately. But I have a theory. A game theory, perhaps, as to why trends like this exist, and it all goes back to one man. And that man is Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Carter. Nope, Jimmy Buffett. Wait, hold on. Jimmy Kimmel. That is my final answer. Side note, there are way too many Jimmys in Hollywood. We should just have one main Jimmy, a head Jimmy in charge. That's not for me to decide, though. The Jimmys can fight it out for themselves. If you don't know, Jimmy Kimmel has an annual series called Hey Jimmy Kimmel. I told my kids I ate all their Halloween candy, not to be confused with Hey Jimmy Kimmel, I gave my kids a terrible present. Every Halloween, viewers of Jimmy Kimmel Live submit videos of themselves telling their children they ate all their Halloween candy. Sound familiar?
I got really hungry and I ate it all.
Surprise, surprise, the kids are obviously upset, but those tears will be worth it, little Johnny, because if you're one of the lucky few chosen, millions of Americans will gather around their TVs like they're watching the moon landing in order to laugh at your misery. And even better, they can replay those clips on YouTube year-round until the end of time. 'Tis the f***ing season. But what does this have to do with the egg cracking prank? Now, I'm not saying Jimmy Kimmel is responsible for this prank. He did not invent the idea of pranking children, but I feel like he's a big contributor to this culture where it's okay to turn your kids into a public spectacle on social media, as if it's okay to laugh at these kids crying because they're just spoiled brats upset over some Halloween candy, when in reality, it's not about the candy. It's not about the terrible present. It's not about the eggs. These kids are upset over the breach of trust. They feel betrayed by their parents. And again, they don't have the critical reasoning to understand the joke. Don't get me wrong, I think the parents are ultimately at fault because they can just choose not to submit these videos to Jimmy Kimmel or just choose not to post their kids on TikTok. But considering that Jimmy Kimmel has a bigger platform than any of these family vloggers ever will, I think he deserves at least part of the blame. Then again, you could argue that America's Funniest Videos did it way before Jimmy. Moral of the story, can we not upload videos of our children during their most vulnerable moments, if at all? Is it too much to ask not to exploit your kids? Maybe I'm just overly optimistic, but I hope one day that family vlogging will be prohibited, or at the very least, there will be very strict laws put into place to protect children online. In the meantime, all we can do is continue to call out these creators until they're too ashamed to exploit their kids. Hopefully this will be seen as a taboo one day. But what are my final thoughts? I think it's totally okay to joke around or prank your kids. Just do it in a way that matches your child's developmental stage. Otherwise, you just come off like a bully. And if the prank does go sour, maybe don't film your child having a meltdown and post it online for the world to see. One more thing. Despite how we may feel about family vloggers, please don't go and harass these creators. While I don't like this trend, I don't think these TikTokers are bad parents or bad people. Let's just keep the discussion in the comment section. But what do you guys think of this trend? Do you also feel like it's messed up, or am I just reaching? If you'd like me to rip into more family content going forward, please let me know down below. And if you'd like me to talk about anything in particular going forward, I have a Google form linked in the description where you could submit your video ideas. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a tiny thumbs up and subscribe down below. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time with a brand new video. Bye! Subscribe to Andy King.